here's where it starts. We have to press to start Minecraft Rube Goldberg Machine for Team Spark. Well, press to start Team Spark Rube Goldberg Machine.
Activate the sprinkler! Ooh, rainbow sprinkles.
Now we are going into the intestines of an alligator. Yuck.
Hello, welcome to our Rube Goldberg Machine World Doors.
And the potato is going to a slime bouncer, going up and up and up.
Our birthday present is a big Rube Goldberg machine.
We're going to start it right now. Let's go.
Woohoo! That is so much fun. I'm always dancing away in the background.
I am too. I'm always like bopping around, smiling.
Same.
I think as a team, we do a really good job of picking the music for our little stingers, teasers, all of it, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, welcome everyone. We're excited to be here again, talking about the Rube Goldberg Minecraft competition. So much fun. And one of the reasons is that one of the objectives is to weave humor and storytelling into your Minecraft creation. So we're going to get into that in just a minute, but let's do some quick introductions. I'm Claire LeBeau. I am the Chief Marketing Officer for NASAF, and thrilled to be coordinating this competition once again this year. And with that, Jennifer, since we're talking about the Rube Goldberg Institute, can you introduce yourself?
I'm Jennifer George. As I always say, I'm an accident of birth. I am Rube's granddaughter. I run kind of all things Rube in our sphere. And the cherry on top of our contest cake is the NASAF Rube Goldberg Minecraft competition, which started during COVID. And it's an amazing way to build in tight quarters and with just a laptop. So I'm going to pass it over to Eric, who is the mastermind of all this stuff.
I don't know if the word mastermind is correct. Occasional spark of somewhat cleverness at best. Hence clever-like, I guess we can go with that. But hi, I'm Eric. I am an education content producer for Clever Like Studios, where we create all sorts of educational and fun video game content. Been working with the team at NASAF for, oh my God, how long has it been now? 3-4 years at least, to create these fun activities and events for you through all sorts of gaming opportunities. Prior was an educator for 20 some odd years, and I'm not going to stop that whatsoever. But always happy to be here. This is one of my favorites. So much fun to do, and I can't wait to get building. I'm already building in the background. That's the secret. So, but we've got a guest with us. So we've got a guest with us that we're going to introduce. Pablo.
Hi, everybody. My name is Pablo Larios. I am a CTE graphic design instructor in the lovely city of Villa Park, California. And I'm a NASAF mentor. I've been in the esports game for 5 years with some, previous, industry experience that we'll talk about later.
Perfect. I have had a chance to visit Pablo's classroom and their esports arena that they have tucked away through a secret door in the back, and his students. And let me tell you, their admiration of you and their appreciation to be in your program
Thank
and
you.
learning from you is phenomenal. So I'm excited to share you with
yeah.
the rest of the world today.
I had a chance to see his students speak and actually present at a conference, and we were the whole room was blown away. And so if that's what we're bringing to the classroom, if that's what the students are bringing, and we've got some good insight with us today, so we're excited.
Right. Absolutely. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Eric, do you want to just give us a quick overview? What are we doing? What is this Rube Goldberg Minecraft competition all about?
Sure. So, and that was, in stream 1, we talked a little bit about what is a Rube Goldberg machine, and we'll preface it again and say Rube Goldberg machine is essentially a really nonsensical way to complete a simple task. So, for example, like building a lunch is a pretty simple task. Most people do it every day. But what if we could do it in the most absurd way possible through a series of chain reactions, right? So that is what Rube inspired with his art and cartooning. And that is what we want to bring to life, either in the real world through the many amazing events that Jen's team brings to students and classrooms and teachers everywhere, but also through the Minecraft world, which we've got, literally tens of millions of passionate people about. So why not? So that's the goal, is to take to Minecraft and create a chain reaction series of events that completes a very simple task like building a lunch. But, and this is what we'll focus on today, it's not that simple. We're making it complicated, and making it complicated means that machine also needs to sort of take us on a journey, tell a story, have an idea, spark creativity, make us laugh, all of these things, all of the things that would go into, let's say, a cartoon, right? Because cartoons are not just these things in a void. It's this humorous setting and humorous things going on, or, in a comic strip. But we want to bring that to life, whether it's in the Minecraft world or the real world. And Jen, I'm going to let you elaborate a little bit, because I know, you've got a million talking points that I didn't touch.
Oh, the million talking points, we might not need to touch on all of those today, but, most people think a Rube Goldberg machine is a domino run, or maybe it's a marble run, or maybe it's a combination of those two things. And to be honest, it's neither, really. You can incorporate a marble run and a domino run into your contraption. But really, it's taking just, everyday items and putting them in a logical sequence so that a chain reaction occurs. So all the books behind me, if you were building this in sort of an analog setting, you might take those books and create your domino run out of those. And then you might take an old bicycle, or you might, and again, these are real world builds. But we are in Minecraft, your imagination can get set free. You don't have to really think about the constraints of, where am I going to find a real Martian? You can create your Martian. Or
we had some Martians. Yeah, we had some Martians in these builds from the students, right?
But we are asking you to be as completely crazy and nonsensical and funny in how you imagine telling this story about how you're going to build your lunch, where you're going to build it, and who you're building lunch for. And how you're going to maybe deliver the lunch to the person, or animal, or Martian. No
one said it had to be a human lunch, right? I don't see the word human anywhere in the Build a Lunch title. That's right.
But part of what we do look for when we're judging these is a continuity in terms of theme. And we're going to give you some really great examples, but you might say, how do we do that? We're going to show you. So I'm going to toss this back to somebody, Pablo, Claire. Let's figure out which way we go with this.
I think before we dive in, I know that Eric has a couple videos he wants to share with us. But Pablo, you mentioned your background. So we are going to look to you to be adding some commentary as we go along. So why don't you just spend a minute and tell us about what you did before, or possibly even a little bit during, your teaching career.
So prior to me landing in the classroom, and prior to me working in sales and gaining all kinds of life experiences, I actually got to work behind the scenes at a studio called Film Roman. Film Roman was in charge of putting The Simpsons out for Fox, King of the Hill, a lot of other shows, X-Men Evolution, which I enjoyed seeing come to life. So I got to work behind the scenes On both King of the Hill and The Simpsons, I got to meet the design team, the character designers, the layout artists, and pick their brains to make me a better artist in a sense. But probably one of my best memories is working in that studio, seeing the animation life and how it all gets put together in the process to make these things that we'll tune in for 26 to 24 minutes a day and laugh about. Because, I took out the commercials. We don't count those anymore.
You know what? You bring up a good point. How long does it take for a 24 to 26 minute episode? How much time goes into the creation of that?
I would love to say that it's probably gotten quicker with time and the evolution of technology, but it's still about a 6-month process from laying out everything. Now that it's called digitally, they have those opportunities to lay everything out digitally, but they still have teams that come in from overseas to do what they call the in-between shots for each scene. Because each scene here in the United States, they do what's known as the keyframing. So they'll do the main drawings, and then another team will come in and do everything that's in between. Hence why they're the in-betweeners.
I love descriptive titles. That's fantastic. That's great. So what if someone watching this is interested in that field? They love, humor and animation and graphics and that kind of thing. What does it take to get into that field? What's the background?
It's like I tell my students in graphic design, the word animation is the umbrella. And under animation, there's all these different titles. Like I ended up falling in love with character design. And I didn't want to do the draw over and over and over, because an animation is drawings over and over and over. I wanted to be the person that designed the characters for that creative individual that didn't have those artistic skills. But, you could be the character designer, you could be the layout artist, you could be the storyboard artist. You get to the point where then you're in post-production, watching scenes and catching mistakes, doing the audio, doing the coloring, because like I said, the word animation, it's the umbrella with all these things underneath it, all the raindrops that fall off of it.
That's such a beautiful metaphor. I love that.
It is. And I love the idea of bringing this to something like cartoons, because so often in the classroom, and as an educator I was just as guilty of this, when we focus on the elements we're going to talk about today, the theme, the story, the setting, the humor, the characters, all of that is always done in the context of like literature, right? Or nonfiction. But rarely do we say, a cartoon has all of those same elements. And if we can understand it in one place, we will understand it in another place, and we can take all of those skills and sort of, they're transferable, right? So that when I'm watching something like a cartoon, I recognize who the characters in the story are and what the story is about and what the overarching theme is and what the setting of it is. And I can take those same skills and say, next time I read a book, I can look for those same things.
Exactly.
Well, and they also, in cartoon art, it's all boiled down into a very succinct roux. It's very, if you've got 4 panels, you've got to tell your story
in 4 panels.
And that I find that so many of the cartoonists and illustrators that I know, they're great storytellers, because they have to boil each panel down to what the overall message is of that cartoon. So it's very interesting. And Rube, he never made these inventions he's known for. He was a cartoonist. And when you win an award for cartooning, you win something called the Reuben Award, named after my grandpa.
Wait, how am I just learning that now? How many streams have we done? And I'm just learning that now.
He was
something new every day.
Father of the National Cartoon Society. And you can look them up, the NCS. And they offer all kinds of wonderful things for people, kids, students, adults who want to get into that field, the field of cartooning.
Love it. So with that in mind, let's look at how all of those elements can be brought into a Rube Goldberg machine. So how do we take something? So for example, last season we had this challenge that was to open and illuminate a book. So how do we take something like that and say, we're going to tell a story about that? So this one, I think, Jen, and I'll let you kind of elaborate in a second, was one from, the sponsor, I think, of one of these events.
This is an analog build. This is a live
right
build.
So we're going to look at a live action build, but it still has all of those elements, right? It still has a theme. It still is telling a story. In this case, I think it's a little bit more nonfiction than fiction, but all of those components are there. And it's even, obviously, it's a Rube Goldberg machine, so it's a little zany, it's a little wacky, and they use things in interesting and clever ways. And of course, it's got all of those chain reaction elements. So Jen, tell us, who's this one from, and why it exists?
This is from an incredible builder who's part of our world. His name's Lyle, and he actually won. It was Lego Masters. He won the show.
Wait,
What?
that's the same person. I watched the
Same
show.
builder,
So
yes.
Yeah.
Whoa.
He won Lego Masters, and he was hired by Sylvania, Ledvance, the makers of Sylvania. I think it's called Sylvania General Lighting. So they make light bulbs. And they have been a real kind of support in our world as we work on free STEM and education and arts education initiatives. But they have this new light bulb that's really perfect for reading. And it just gives off the right light. So Glenn, our person at Ledvance, they wanted to get involved because we're opening a book. That was the competition task for last year. So every machine in our world, no matter how young you were, how old you were, or anything in between, if you were building with 2 people or a whole team at school, every machine has to open a book. In our world, in Minecraft, we thought, that's a little simple. Let's make it a little harder. Let's open and illuminate a book, which really did speak to the sort of Sylvania Ledvance help in sponsoring. So we can watch the video that Lyle built. I mean, the machine that Lyle built, and they use all these light bulb products in it. So it's fun to watch.
All right, let's check this out.
So we're starting here. Is that Lyle? Let's see if that's, I don't know if that was Lyle walking in. But up there is the badge, because every year and see the badges on the bottom of the cups.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
A little marketing. I like it.
hey, it all goes with the theme, right? But see, like they've even got like these little like cards telling you all about like, why do we use light bulbs? What are the light bulbs doing? What's the benefit of this? So they're telling a story, and in this case, maybe of their product, or or maybe through some scientific information.
Let's look at all the everyday objects. I mean, we just saw a rolling pin. We saw a teapot on wheels. We're seeing these light bulbs used not just for how they roll, but how they tip over and how they can spin around.
Yeah, I want to point out we only saw one actually used as a light bulb so far.
Yeah.
Only one was actually plugged in right there, being used as a light bulb. The rest are being used in absurd ways.
They're just moving props. And I want to date myself here, but for you kids, go onto YouTube and look up Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse. In his Big Adventure movie, his whole kitchen was like this right here.
And that's how he made breakfast every morning, right?
Yes.
That's right. That's
Fed
right.
his dog, watered the plants.
We just might have to share that one.
Right. I love how this goes from room to room or space to space, and it's all kitchen themed, and then it's above the desk. This is fun.
And there goes to what Jen was mentioning, right? So there were dominoes in there, but the whole machine isn't a domino machine. And here's a marble run, but it's not the whole machine. Lots of other things are happening.
And you've got pulleys and lanterns, and it's knocking over things, and using all the elements in the room for the track, and there's a fan.
Now, again, some of these things we can do in Minecraft, some of them we can't. So we'll talk in the next build about what we can do,
They use the pillows as dominoes.
And again, for our youth, I know for you guys, the Pee Wee Herman thing dated us here on stream. But if you ever look at the Dude Perfect cast, the guys from Dude Perfect, they do similar tricks, not just sports trick shots, but they have done stuff like this as well. So, something that you might understand a little bit better.
Good point.
I love that this slows down. Anytime it slows down, it builds like this great tension as to what's going to happen
Like
next.
something's building.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you sort of hold your breath. Now, I will say, I don't know for a fact how many times they had to run this to get it one full, complete run.
Right.
But if you are building these in the real world or even in Minecraft, failure is part of the model.
And that's
Absolutely.
There's improvisation. Like if it didn't work, how do we tweak it? How do we fix it?
There's that light bulb they're using. You can totally read better.
And there's Lyle.
Awesome.
Oh, that is so fun. I love that.
So I'm super happy and proud of that video.
Yeah, that's great.
That was
That's great.
fun.
But let's talk about what was the theme, right? If I were to say what was the overarching theme of this build, I mean, everything was light bulb related. There was information about light bulbs. The machine used light bulbs. It illuminated a book at the end. I mean, obviously, throughout the whole build, we saw stuff one way or another, used incorrectly or correctly, about light bulbs. So
In a way, it's about how light travels.
right. You could get deep into it, right? We could get deep, I would say, and it's all a metaphor for it.
But at the end, it did the simple task. It opened the book.
Right, simple task, but
Illuminated it.
And illuminated it. Exactly.
So, and then we can conversely, we can show you, okay, how did they open and illuminate a book in Minecraft? So we're going to show you an example of that. And then we're going to talk about like the elements they used.
Perfect. All right. I think I've got the right one queued up here.
yeah, that's the one.
Hello, I'm Tyler Ludlow, and I'm the team lead for the Silver Gulps. Now, I see some people doing skits, but I feel like it'd be best to describe the design process and the mechanics on our Rube Goldberg machine. So, here we go. So, over here, the graphic, we have some tridents over here. Now, the dispenser would shoot out a trident, which will hit a button, which will shoot out the next trident, and it'll keep going up. Now, the tridents aren't 100% accurate unless they're really close up. So, we have this backup redstone system, so that when one of the buttons is pressed, it will activate the next dispenser up in case of one of the tridents to miss. Now we have some TNT here which will explode the virus. And
You know, I love this because they do such a good job, and I hate to talk over them, but they do such a good job explaining the mechanics of what we can do to create chain reactions in Minecraft.
But also, is this the open a book challenge, or was this the year before?
This was the sprinkles on a cake, but they treated it like a New Year's celebration.
Pretty easy to explain. Now over here is our Zoom computer. Now the pressure plates have redstone lamps underneath, which carries a redstone charge. So when an anvil falls on top of the pressure plate, it'll send a redstone charge to not only launch the next minecart, but will also cause the powder concrete to fall within their slits and spell zoom. Now here is the same trident mechanic, but instead it's more close together and a little bit different, as you can see in the machine run. Over here, after the hornet's nest, we have an iron block which will get pulled and will cause the sand to fall all the way down the explosion of internet into the pressure plate, which will send a redstone charge all the way here, which will not only turn on the little plus logo, but will also launch the next minecart. It will go across the Australia section. It'll go up the plate thanks to a little emu friend over here, which will be launched over here. It will activate all the powder concrete to fall on the cake or sprinkles, as well as the fireworks.
So this was our 2020 competition. Just to be clear, this was not the Open a Book Challenge. This was to put sprinkles on a cake. And the cake that they chose to put sprinkles on was the cake that represented 2020. So they told the story of all the events of the year, including COVID. The big major news events that seem to be running through our world. And that's the theme of their machine. And we were just blown away by this one.
You know, I love this mechanic in this machine. So, again, one of the things we talked about in the last one is how do we make things, chain reactions that are diverse, that have a whole variety of absurd functions and things like that. And that first one, they're launching tridents out of dispensers into target blocks back and forth, setting off the next one. But they did a great thing is on that left side, they also included redstone lanterns. So we could see, remember that's something, Jen, you talked about last time. We want to talk about this time. We want to see what's happening. So by putting those lanterns there, we can see as each one is getting activated. There's a visual indicator that lets us know what's happening. Right. So this is such a good timeline, though, right? It's telling this story as we go through the world.
Here's the election.
Mm-hmm.
The depth of the storyline in this one is fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And here's the thing. Just like we talked about with the dominoes or the marble run in a real build, your builds are probably going to use minecarts. It's going to happen. Minecarts are a big part of making things happen in Minecraft, but it's not just minecarts. We see all these other things happening, all these other ways to trigger the next event and the next event. Do we get minecarts in between? Sure, but not always.
Everybody was zooming suddenly.
That's right. And then we had, some celebrities that passed away. They represented that. And again, see, the minecart triggered that event, but we're not staying with the minecart all day long. We're seeing other triggers and other events take place.
So we have Kobe Bryant at the bottom with his daughter. We have Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
There's a hornet's nest.
That kind of represents 2020 in a nutshell, right?
Yeah.
Chaotic little thing.
Right, here were all our streaming services. Obviously, you know, during lockdown and stuff, they were very popular, and then even more streaming services.
Oh, yeah.
Right, this is how we all entertained ourselves while stuck at home. You know, if we weren't playing Minecraft, I'll throw that in there. And then we had the Australia wildfires. You know, where you know, the whole center of the island was essentially burning, and it was
and what's
intense.
kind of amazing about this machine also, it is linear. You know, it goes from left to right, and we have many entries that don't do that. But in this one, it is so clear. And I will say that some of the best, the most visibly satisfying machines that we get go from left to right, whether it's in the cartoon competition, the real life competition, or Minecraft.
Exactly. So it did a lot of things that we have, right? So we saw there's a theme. Their theme was essentially the year in review, right? It told the story of the year in review, and it told it essentially sequentially, right? Again, it was a timeline. It was easy to see that. They used a lot of clever transfers of motion. I loved the idea of using the chain reaction with the tridents launching across, triggering each next event and going up, you know, because we see a lot of machines going across. Up and down is harder to do, and they figured out a really great way to do that. So, you know, and again, even in the real world, right, you're using gravity a lot. How do we get back up to trigger the next event so that we can use gravity again? Not easy to do. So they did a really clever representation of that even in the Minecraft world. You know, setting, there was a lot we could see in the world, and we loved that. The timeline is a lot, but, you know, the world was a little vacant, but for the purpose of what the story they were telling, it didn't matter because the focus was on those timeline events, right? When I draw a timeline, I don't necessarily add a lot of background. I focus on the things that are happening in the timeline. So you got to play with what you need in your world and what you want us to see and focus on.
And if you think about it, Eric.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, Jen. If you think about it, Eric, you talked about how their world was kind of vacant. Well, in 2020, so was ours. We were all.
That's true.
So
very good point, Pablo.
That's right. It felt that way too, didn't it?
Yes.
So yeah.
But you know what? We could see it
right on the
and
nose
that's
there.
So important. We could see what they really kept our focus and us on track along with the machine. And I often say, you know, here's my phone, right? I'm sure there are a lot of chain reactions that go on inside here, but if I can't see it, it's not a Rube Goldberg machine. So even though chain reactions, you know, are very essential in day-to-day life in the digital world, it really helps, and part of sort of the analog or kind of nostalgic joy of how things work is what we're looking for here too.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think we want to transition and now talk about like what the wild card is in all of this, right? And that is humor. Humor, look, the goal of your build and what you're submitting to us is to entertain. And we want to be entertained, right? The winners are going to be entertaining videos that we can share on live. You know, we want them to be exciting, entertaining. And the best way to be entertaining, and I think Rube knew this when you look at those cartoons, is to be funny, to be absurd, to be ridiculous, and to make us laugh. So we want to share some examples of that because there are so many ways to do that, right? It could be like
before we do that, I want to hear what Pablo's experience is.
Oh, please.
The expert on this.
Yeah, there we go.
Call we're having.
And you already made him laugh. Look at that.
That's, man. When it comes down, like, I've played Minecraft before. I'm not an expert like Eric. Like, I just go and break stuff. I just go in and bang, 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 bang. But to me, that's funny because it's someone's world, and I'm like, haha, look what I just did.
Yeah,
my son doesn't like it so much when I go into his worlds, but you know, it's
but if you're messing with his stuff, it's hilarious anyway. You've created humor, whether they like it or not. You know.
But tying in the humor to everything, to me is always a plus. Like even when I teach, I like to tie in the humor because it makes it memorable. It sticks in here. If they laughed, I always think of like a comedian when they're on stage. If they hit you with that punchline and it sticks, and then you can retell the story later, then then it works. So you know, when it comes to doing the animation portion of it, it's kind of the same process. Like, what's that funny moment? What's going to trigger it? And do I want it to be a 2-second laugh, or do I want it to be a 3-second laugh? These are all, you know, the things to think about. But I like the idea of doing this in Minecraft because you are restricted to a certain degree, right? You don't have those principles of animation where you can squash and stretch. It's just, it's kind of in its own Blocky Steve way, a challenge. And so far, even the timeline we just saw, that was an amazing little challenge of going left to right, telling us a story of what happened to all of us in 2020. So those constrictions, I think, add to the challenge of how to add the humor. Whether you're, you know, in your little home cooking something up, and all of a sudden it implodes on you because you use the wrong, you know, stone in the oven. Because I know it'll trigger a reaction.
And maybe we can use that to do exactly that in our machine, right?
When you
do things the wrong way.
You talk about the punchline, you know? And really, if you think about it, the punchline is the final moment of the chain reaction of telling the joke, right? Yeah. You have the, let's introduce the idea, let's give you a little bit of the nitty gritty, and then let's pay it off with that punchline. And if you can think of that in visual terms, and sometimes even in oral terms, because we have some incredible Minecraft submissions that use sound and funny vocalizations and noise that really amplify the humor as well.
Yes. Oh, for sure.
So let's take a look at a real world build. And admittedly, we had to crop this one down. This is a 10-minute incredible run of nonstop. So we're going to cut it down to the last minute or so, because that's really where the humor hits. And it is the punchline of the whole thing. And what's great about it is we can deliver humor in so many ways. It's not always in explicitly what we say. Sometimes it's just in how we look or what we don't say. And this builder did such a good job of that. So this was a machine that was supposed to serve a scoop of ice cream and then put the sprinkles on the ice cream. And Jen, I don't know if you want to tell us a little bit more about it before we play the clip.
Well, this comes to us. And again, all of these videos, you want to see the full 10-minute run, just go onto YouTube. This is Sprice Machines. There are literally, there are thousands, millions of machines. If you go onto YouTube, you'll see some of the top ones have, I mean, like the OK Go one, and it's for This Too Shall Pass. It's got 75 million views. So you can find these on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
But that machine in particular took 87 tries to get it to do the full run. And if you're actually looking at the video, you will see in the sort of background, talk about background information, right? You'll see the broken television sets, the broken pianos, the broken, and if you would look at the very end, which was, I guess, the goal or the task was to fire off these paint guns at, the band. But when they're standing there, they're covered in paint. I mean, it's not like they're in perfectly white jumpsuits.
Right.
So 87 tries, it takes a while to get it to do the full run. So patience, perseverance, keep at it, because it will.
But it pays off. It pays off.
In Rube Goldberg machines and in life in general, right?
Perseverance is a life skill.
Don't give up.
Don't give up. All right, we're going to go ahead and watch this one here.
So Sprice Machines, that's this builder's channel, and they make incredible machines. You've seen them for advertisers, you've seen them in commercials. This is, and I love, how great is Octopus on the skateboard?
Mm-hmm. Keep in mind, this is already 8 minutes into this run, too.
Which is kind of crazy.
Right.
Oh.
And here we go. Scoop the ice cream, throw it in the cup.
But here's just where the perfect humor moment comes in. And this is, I guess, why you have a YouTube channel, when you can just wear this look on your face.
I love it.
The explosion of the syrup.
Right, so the bell, there's the dinner bell, essentially, right?
Ready.
And again, that's using an oral component.
Little Pavlov right there.
Oh
right,
God.
so again. Just stand there with that awkward smile on your face.
Very satisfying.
Oh my
Not
gosh,
just
I
a few
love that.
sprinkles, it was sprinkles.
Right. I'm just gonna stand here and smile.
Right.
And then just get bombarded with sprinkles, essentially, right? Not worry about the fact that we can hear them all hit the floor and scatter, which, you know, would give my mother a heart attack.
But give my wife a heart attack.
Yeah, right.
Would give me a heart attack.
I'd be fine. I'd be like, the dog will get it. It's fine. Don't feed your dog sprinkles. I'm just going to put the disclaimer. Don't feed your dog sprinkles.
But think about how cool an octopus on a skateboard or some sort of track would be in Minecraft. I mean, you know, there's so many ways to look at real life builds for inspiration for your Minecraft build.
Oh, definitely.
And again, the humor there wasn't an explicit joke told. There wasn't a slapstick sort of comedy moment. None of that, right? It was sort of just in the awkward deadpan, right? And then the sprinkles, and then just being so thrilled about it, like you can't help but smile, giggle, laugh at it, you know?
So this build ran 10 minutes, but in the Minecraft challenge, tell us what the minimum length and the maximum length.
So we want to see a machine. Yeah, it's a great point. We want to see a minimum length of about a minute, and I think that's in our team guide is a minute run. So it should last about a minute. We don't want it to be over so fast that we don't even know what happened. We want to see it progress and progress and progress. We want to see a minimum amount of those transfers of energy, meaning one machine, you know, step of the machine triggering the next step of the machine triggering the next step of all the chain reaction events. We want to see at least 10 of those. But when we say at least, don't settle for at least, you know, we want to see it really go above and beyond, you know, and we want to see those theme components, those humor components, the design components, the storytelling, if you can work it in. And I think that comes right into our next build perfectly, because this is a team that really leaned into the absurd. They came up with this idea, and they didn't have to write out a novel. They didn't have to write out. They said, what if we just showed the journey of a potato? And we just kind of narrated off the cuff, right? We don't have to write a script. We just kind of talked about what the potato is doing and shared our concern, our excitement, our fears for what the potato is going through.
But not just any potato.
The journey.
This is a potato that is a sentient creature.
That is right.
You know.
Right. This potato has feelings and a life, and we do not want harm to come to the potato. And of course, the team that submitted it is called the Legendary Potatoes. So let's check out a Minecraft build that used humor and theme and a ton of chain reactions to tell the story of the journey of this potato.
All right, I'm going to take just a second before we get that potato footage rolling and say thank you to Pablo for joining us. We know you're a teacher and you have commitments, and I think you have to head off and
dedication is the word we say. Dedication.
Dedication.
Yes.
We love a dedicated educator.
Thank you guys all.
So appreciate your being here, and the inspiration and the motivation and the insight into the world of animation. So thank you. And with that, let's watch, what is it? The Legendary Potato?
The Legendary Potatoes.
All right, here we go.
Hi, I am Zhe Huang.
I'm Rui Hao.
I'm Go Yu An.
We are the Legendary Potatoes. Today, my team will be presenting our machine, the Potato Killer. Our machine is about
Potato Killer, let's go.
Separated 100 miles from his family and friends. He has to ride in a minecart to get back home. But what dangers will we meet along the way? Let's find out.
Okay, so we're back with the potato. Okay, the potato is in the minecart and go! Oh, what's this? The pressure plate powering the pistons and pushing the minecart.
Almost.
Almost, yeah, the potato almost got through it.
I like this fight.
Okay, wait. The potato got out and got into the slime. Getting pushed on ice, and up it goes and down into hoppers, back into the minecart again.
I love that the whole thing is over a lava field too, right? Like just more danger, right? We don't have to create a whole elaborate setting, just danger.
Well, and that's what builds tension.
Actually didn't die.
Think about every great, suspense, drama.
Now the potato powered
there's danger.
Things, special things, which spawn chickens down, and it powers the pressure plate.
Look at that. Yeah, the chickens are triggering the next part, so you got falling chickens.
Okay. Oh god, that's lava. Oh my god. Bro, lava.
Oh my god.
Mob is gonna fall in the potato.
Why is it moving so slowly?
God save the potato.
The potato didn't get
I love
killed
the
by
commentary.
Oh my god.
It's the commentary that makes it
Okay,
hilarious.
this is just a sand timer.
Miracle has happened.
Slowly pushing the sand down until it touches the observer. And up it
And again, there's a
goes.
lot of minecart going on here, but there are events
back
happening
again.
that are
And now
forcing
it
the
goes to
minecart
this
in different
special
directions. The
area
potato is going
where
in and out of the
there's a
minecart
lot
at
of slime
times.
blocks.
Oh my god, wow.
Right, we're not on a rail here
Like
at
this,
all.
right? Can you explain a bit more about it? Rehan?
Look at it fly.
Okay, now it got pushed to the side. But good thing there's some rails there. Okay, what's this? This is some roller coaster right here. Low budget roller coaster.
Low budget roller coaster.
They got on fire.
And again, this is just so
But good
great.
thing it didn't
listening to
die,
them.
and the sand powered the rails. And now, oh my god, that's TNT, bruh!
Oh.
Uh-oh.
They blow up the potato?
Did the potato die? Oh, nope.
No.
It didn't die and got back into a new chest. Wow. Oh, why is this? Oh, this is the villager pusher. Torturing villagers.
Gonna torture them.
Yeah, villager torture.
You like that they have no concern for the villagers whatsoever, but they're very concerned for the potato.
Oh, this item is getting pushed up and down, which powers a dropper that drops different items. And
There's
we'll
just
wait
so much
until
going
it
on here at once,
got
too.
enough items, which will power the slime block, the piston slime block, and will push the minecart to the side. Okay, there it goes, and oh, it just passed the block.
There's our cake and our sprinkles. And of course, there are potatoes
The potato has
all over the
reunited with its
cake.
family, passing all those scary parts.
The sheep at the bottom.
Yeah, the ship at the bottom.
Oh.
All right, yeah,
No,
that's
it's
so
so
good.
fun.
It's
I
so
love the
so
music
good.
at the end too. Of course, we're all
It's a party.
celebrating.
It's a party,
a
right?
party.
My favorite, I'm telling you, my favorite thing, and I'll say it, I said it during the video, is they've got villagers, and there's like this machine part that the potato has to get through the journey, and they don't care about the villagers, the people at all. They're like, oh no, this part of the machine just tortures the people, but they're very concerned about the potato.
Right. Oh my goodness.
And it strikes me as someone, I mean, I'm the old lady on this call because I am not well versed in Minecraft. I've seen enough of them and I know enough about it, but I've never actually built anything in Minecraft. But it strikes me that these are really, and no pun intended, the building blocks of going on to the next phase of animation if you are interested. And we have something very exciting coming up in terms of another animation tool that I think we will be announcing maybe on our next broadcast for all of you.
Oh.
So stay tuned. But Minecraft is really, it's the gateway to these careers and other ways to really further an interest in animation.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I see a lot of the same elements, right? We were talking earlier about whether it's in a cartoon strip or a Minecraft build, or I know in our curriculum that NASAF publishes for English classes, and they talk about having the same themes woven through games and video games that you see in all these places. So the principles are the same. They're just applied in different ways.
That's
and
right.
I love where we are in time right now, that there's so many places where you can apply your creativity. It might be in the analog world, it might be in Minecraft, it might be in a game. It's up to you. What do you want to do? Create a video. Take your creativity and run with it. I love that.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And you're not alone. We're doing the same thing on our end. So I want to talk a little bit about the process. Like, what is the process for all of this, right? So today we focused very specifically on, and admittedly, you already, if you watched the first stream, had a
Eric, you're
challenge to show
breaking
us.
up at least from my end.
Yes.
Oh, that might be because I've got all sorts of stuff running on my computer at the same time. Let me know if it gets any better.
You'll have to keep talking
You
for
have to
us
keep
to
talking.
know.
I guess that's true. I do have
There
to
we
keep
go.
talking in order
Yes.
to get that
Yeah,
down.
you're
We're getting
better.
better. We're getting
That's
better.
better. You did sound like you
All
were
right, good,
underwater
good.
for a moment there.
Or
Speaking-
like you sucked
You know-
a helium balloon.
yeah.
What I
Very
was doing was switching my screen. That's right. I love when that happens. That's my favorite, when you're especially on a serious call, and then all of a sudden it speeds up, and everyone sounds like a chipmunk, and you're like, I can't help but laugh at you. I'm sorry. We gotta accept those humor moments, and maybe you can use that in your narration of your Minecraft world to make us laugh. Go for the chipmunk voice.
Yeah, grab the balloon.
That's right. All right, so we started saying, well, let's go through this process ourselves. And while in challenge 1, we asked you to kind of just show us a little bit about building a chain reaction, just a few steps to show us you understand what a Rube Goldberg machine is. And this one, we're talking a lot about theme storytelling. So how do we design and build out the world that we want all of this to take place in? How do we determine what our story is going to be as we work through our machine? What are going to be the things that are happening around our machine and in our machine as we go through it that we get to see as we travel through this adventure that the machine is taking us on? And so we thought, okay, build a lunch. Let's keep it on the nose a little bit. And Jen had this good idea. So, Jen's the idea person and we're the build people. So we said, okay, how about a picnic, right? We want to go on a picnic. So we have started building out sort of a picnic space to build our machine in. And so let's go ahead and share screen. And so we started building a place for all of this to happen. Now, we're not done by a lot, right? Our tree, we got a blue tree here. That's not going to look like that when we're done, hopefully. Although, maybe there's a reason the tree is blue and we want to work that into the story.
Maybe you're a Navi and you're an avatar, and this is a picnic in that world.
I gotta be
Right, so
honest,
we're like-
from the background, I thought it was a giant plume of smoke coming up from the hot dogs, and I thought that there might be some kind of
I mean, that would be an
tropical
interesting,
barbecue experience happening.
an amusing thing to happen at a barbecue, right? But as we started building, we're like, oh, let's put a raccoon in the space, because of course a raccoon, and where would the raccoon be, right? On the garbage can or in the garbage can. And the more we do this, the more we start getting more and more ideas, and maybe our brains go in different directions than we started. Because now my thought is, maybe I want to build the lunch for you. Jen mentioned at the beginning of the call, like, what if we don't have to build it for a human? So maybe I want to make lunch for the raccoon. I'm tired of seeing him eating trash. She's always eating trash. Maybe I want to.
Or maybe your lunch consists of trash.
Oh, I like that too, right? Big garbage sandwich, if we can.
Garbage sandwich between two, lids.
Yeah, there's a good humor element, right? If I've got a sandwich with just, plastic bags and soda cans and whatever else in there, right? Whatever else the raccoon is going to steal out of that can and scurry away with. No, let's hope, instead of them being these sort of, intruders at our picnic, maybe they're the guests at our picnic. And we're saying, no, get out of the trash can. Come join us.
And maybe your raccoon is nearsighted and needs to wear glasses to find his lunch. And maybe there's a bunch of baby raccoons that are also nearsighted or farsighted. I don't know.
Are you looking at literally all of our cameras right now as you come up with that idea? I'm just saying, we've got a theme right here. All glasses on this call, right?
Blind without these.
So that's relatable. That's very relatable. I like relatable.
Eric,
so this is what we're working on. Yeah.
I want to point out what's happening here because this is really important to the competition we have. Do you hear the teamwork happening where Eric has an idea and then Jennifer says, ooh, and then maybe we do this. And then Eric says, oh, we could take it this direction. We really want to see that in your builds. You have a team, work with each other. So it's not just one person as the idea person and one other person as the builder. Collaborate, come up with ideas, see how crazy and far-fetched you can get, and then how are you going to work it out? So that's really
right. And maybe you've got someone who's phenomenal at design and world building on your team, or really knows how to make things in Minecraft that normally aren't in there, like a raccoon, for example. And I didn't actually make that raccoon. I made the picnic table, I made the barbecues, I didn't, and then one of my co-builders was like, let's throw a raccoon in there because the raccoon of course would be there, and that inspired new ideas. Even this little table over here, do you know who the little table is for? It's not for the raccoons because that's not what we originally thought, and now I'm thinking we could put some raccoons at this table.
The baby
because
raccoon.
what does Right. Well, exactly. Right. Every dinner's got a kids table. We need the kids table as well.
Yeah.
So we got our kids table down there, but maybe that's the baby raccoon table now, as we kind of explore
I
these
also,
ideas.
I love the way Eric created this sort of gingham tablecloth pattern that is part of, when you're messaging picnic, you usually have some sort of situation like that. And
that was a challenge out of blocks, but you stick with it, right? That was a perseverance moment. I'll tell you that right now. That was it did not look right at first. It did not. But then, you figure out what works and then you go, okay, and now we can just kind of build straight across.
Sizzling.
Oh, yes. And this is where that Minecraft knowledge comes in, knowing that do you know what's actually making this sizzle and stuff? Because it's not those lava blocks you see down there. The lava is just glowing. That's not what's doing it. If we went under here, maybe I can break some blocks here a little bit. There's campfires under here because campfires will put smoke through a single layer of blocks. So I want smoke, but I don't want campfires to be my barbecue. So we've got to use them cleverly.
Hey, but think about it. Isn't that how a barbecue usually works? Like there's a fire and then you have the coals or the wood and then it all smokes up.
There you go. But it works. And we don't have audio sharing, but since there's campfires there, for those who know how those work, but there's a nice sizzle sound going too. So use of sound here is like worked right into the game. If we had our machine kind of go across the hot coals or across the grill, you'd hear it as we went through this part.
And could flipping the burgers be part of a chain reaction?
It could. It absolutely could. We'd have to get a little clever with that and figure out how we want to animate those, whether it was with command blocks or structure blocks, or instead of using the materials we've got here, using something that is affected by gravity, like some of the sand blocks and particulate blocks, the concrete powders. They fall, so we could use that and have them fall onto the grill or flip, if we animate them a little bit. There's ways to do everything.
What if you could have everything a bird fly down and pick at it?
I love Jen's ideas, because then I have to go, okay, how do we make that happen in Minecraft? And that's a really important part for a Minecraft build, is saying, how do we make that happen in Minecraft? And you know what? If you don't know, that's the homework. There's a million YouTube videos out there. There's a million tutorials out there. Figure out how to make it work. Well, how do I build that contraption? How do I use that command block? How do I use structure blocks to animate? All of that can be done. If I'm not sure how to do it, I got to look it up. And that goes back to what Claire was saying with teamwork. Maybe we let somebody and say, hey, you're going to do that. So go look up how to do that. And while you're doing that, I'm going to keep building, or I'm going to look up something else and figure out how to do the next step while you're working on that step.
Right. So sorry, Jen.
Oh, no, you asked.
One thing that I'm really looking forward to is you have captured a slice of Americana right here, Eric. We talked about the gingham tablecloth, the hot dogs and hamburgers. What is someone on the other side of the world doing when they make a lunch, or if they have a picnic? So I can't wait to see some of those entries.
Great.
And I'll tell you what. That moment has happened for me. My co-builder in this space is not in this country. And so when I started building this, they were like, I don't know what you're building. Where is this happening? What does this take place? And I'm like, oh, well, this is what our sort of park picnic areas look like here in the US, a lot of them. And so he was like, can you send me some reference pictures? Like, send me some pictures of your park so I know what you're talking about, because that's not what our parks look like.
Right.
And that's such a cool conversation to have.
Mm-hmm. And I love that when you share on Flipgrid, and then after we take a look at the videos, we'll share those out. And so everyone can get to see all of these different slices of, use the word slice, that's a food metaphor, isn't it? All these different slices.
It is a food metaphor.
Different countries' perspective.
Well, so on our next session, will this world have more going? We
got to keep working on it. We're never going to stop working on it. We got to persevere.
Some of what we've talked about, you will see, fleshed out. And while you're going over all this stuff, I hate to say it, I'm going to have to get off too. I'm
no worries.
out a little early. But you are going to see a very cool little quick video when you as the outro. And I urge you to stick around for that, because it will give you kind of a real overview after all this stuff about theming in the world of Rube. So everybody have a great day, Eric. I am so excited for our next tutorial. I can't wait to see how we progress.
And we'll be in some of that Minecraft world in the tutorial next time. So I know we haven't spent a lot of time in a Minecraft world. We've been sharing some Minecraft videos. So in the next stream, we'll be spending a little bit more time in the Minecraft space, and we'll have a guest that's going to help us out with that.
A very exciting guest. Anyway, have a great day, you guys.
All
right. You too, Jen.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care. And with that, we are going to go right back into how do we get all of this going for our club, our team. Where do we find our resources? And we shared this on our last stream. We're going to walk through it again. And that is, how do we get involved? So first thing, of course, is if your team is not registered, we want to click here and we do want to register. We are, by the way, at nasef.org/Rube-Goldberg. And if you're not sure of that, we could actually just go to nasef.org, and I want to show you where to find it from here. We can go to play right up here at the top. We're going to go to our Minecraft competitions. And there we'll see all the different badges for all our different competitions. And we are in our Rube Goldberg competition. Click on that badge, and here we are. So if you haven't registered your teams yet, get your adult sponsor, whether that's your teacher, your adult, your camp counselor, your after-school teacher, your parent, your club sponsor, to click that register button and get you signed up. From there, below you can find all the resources, including the team guide. Well, you'll find all the information you need on what you need to participate, what resources are allowed, what the rules of the event are. It's all there. A link, of course, to the Flipgrid for this, and we're going to come back to that one in just a little bit, because there are some ways to submit your challenges, and if you're having a little bit of a struggle with that, you can actually come right back up here to the resources and get in that way as well. I do encourage you, if you've never participated in this in the past, take a look at the year's prior events, because we shared a lot of information about the simple machines, about the engineering design process, and all of that information is still very, very useful for what we're doing this season. And then, of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel, where you will find where to watch these streams every time they go live, and where to find them even after they've been live to watch them again and again if you need to. Below, you will find prizes, and yes, there are prizes, including Amazon gift cards and social media pushes, and certificates and all sorts of notoriety, and that's what you want for your club. I mean, the gift card obviously is the big one, but
Right.
So winning teams in each category will get $200 Amazon gift cards for their team. There are 3 categories: a junior division, ages 8 to 13, a senior division, which is 13 to 18, and an at-home division, which is all ages. And you can mash those ages together or have grandparents participate. That is for everyone to get involved. So if you've got a team of a 8-year-old and 17-year-old and a 81-year-old, they can participate in our home division.
I really want to see one of those now, Eric.
I do too.
Let's
I do
have
too. We had
enlist a grandparent.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. Last stream, we showed you challenge 1, which was your chain reaction challenge. This is still open. You can see it still says submit up here. This is still open. It will stay open all the way through to our next stream, along with challenge 2. So you still have plenty of time to submit challenge 1 and challenge 2. Challenge 1 was to build a small chain reaction of just 3 or more steps, just to show us that you understand what the fundamentals of a Rube Goldberg machine is. Doesn't necessarily need to complete any task, but we just want to see those chain reactions take place, and you know that those are the core of your build. And of course, you see one response here, even though we have gotten some responses already, because that's my response from last time showing you how to do it. And now challenge 2 is live. Challenge 2 is live. Now, one of the things I do want to share is there have been some struggles. There's a bit of a bug when logging in to these flip pages. And if you're struggling with that, I encourage you just to come up. If it's not working in the embedded windows right here, you can actually just come right up to that flip link that's over here in the resources. And if I click there, it takes me to the flip page, and you can actually go to the individual challenge links right from here. And you can access any of them. So if you're struggling and it's not letting you in, or you can't sign in properly from those embedded links in our page, you can do it right here.
Eric,
I'll do it from the embed. So yeah,
I so appreciate that you dig into those and recognize where the bug is in the system, because I know sometimes it just can be frustrating. So thank you so much for doing that.
Yeah, I have learned technology is never it's your friend, but it's never your best friend. So you always have to know when it's a little off sometimes and work with it. So challenge number 2 is story, theme, and humor. Everything we talked about today. And the great thing is you can take your existing build that you did for challenge 1, and now we want to see you add some story, theme, and humor elements to it. Again, this has nothing to do with your final build. So you can make this anything you want it to be, but how would you take the little chain reaction machine you already and add some of these elements? How do you make it funny? How do you add a little story around it? And again, we're talking tiny story here, like comic strip story, because you only got 3 or 4 steps to the machine that you're submitting so far. Add a little bit to it. Show us that you understand what we mean when we say we want to see story, theme, and humor in there. So at their heart, Rube Goldberg's designs were funny, clever, and had a purpose. A great Rube Goldberg machine tells a story, has humorous elements, and is entertaining. And that entertaining is like the big part of it.
Yes.
Build on your design from challenge 1. Add elements of story, theme, and or humor to your builds. This can be done by building elements in the world, adding clever signs or scenery, or including dialogue with a voiceover, like the legendary Potatoes did in the video we saw today. To submit, we're simply going to click that Add a Topic button. I realize I probably had to allow my camera is going on in here. Now here's the good news. I'm going to pause here. Maybe you're having this problem with your camera. You can record your video anywhere, and you can use that upload video right there and just submit a video without having to use the tools that are built into Flip. So if you're having those struggles, use another tool. Even PowerPoint actually has built-in screen capturing tools. Screencast-O-Matic is another one that I know a lot of students use, a lot of schools use. And you can just record your video elsewhere and just upload it. And we still get it the same way as everyone else's. So if you're having the issue I'm having right now, you can do it this way. In the meantime, however, I am going to close my camera out here in the StreamYard video. And let's see if I can retry my camera now. And there you go. You see me sans or sans backdrop, right? Yeah. Now you see me what I really look like in this world. And what we're going to do when we're here is I want to capture my Minecraft screen, which, by the way, my Minecraft has crashed. So it's not open right now. But I would simply click these 3 dots. And I'm going to use this record screen tool right here to capture my screen if you're using the ones in Flip. And we have tutorials on how to do this and some quick little videos in the teacher resources on how to use Flip to record your screen. And you're going to use this record screen button right here. They have moved it around. They update Flip all the time. It used to be down here. Now it's up here. And I will say it only works in certain browsers. So Chrome and Edge, any of your Chromium-based browsers, those work great. Firefox is not a Chromium-based browser. So I've noticed that sometimes the screen record button there isn't there because it doesn't support it. So you want to use Chrome or Edge, and you'll probably be in pretty good shape. Or any other Chromium-based browser if you're using a different one. So I'm not going to go through this whole process. But keep in mind, if you're going to use humor and do a voiceover for your machine, you can record your voice and show your screen at the same time in Flip, and it will capture all of that. So you don't have to do that separately. You don't need any special tools. You could literally just, start recording your screen, go to your screen, walk us through it, do a funny voiceover, and then ready to submit. When you do submit, there will be a caption line where you can put it. Put your team name in there, and we're going to talk about that in just a second with Claire, so that we know what team is doing the submission, because we get it from your email that you're logging in with. You can log in with a Microsoft or a Gmail account, and that's what we're going to see. So we want to know who it's from team, and it'll make us much easier to know who the submission is coming from and who deserves one of those wins and get some prizes. So we can't give you a prize if we don't know who you are.
Exactly.
And with that, Claire, I think we should talk a little bit more about registering teams, and I think we're all set.
Perfect. All right, let's see here. Do you want to keep sharing your screen and show where we do that?
I can do that. I think I'm still sharing my screen. So if I jump back over to our Rube Goldberg one over here, I'm actually already in there, and we're back here. You're not going to see my camera. Hold on. Let's get Eric on screen again. At the same time while we're doing that. But so let's go back into our Rube Goldberg competition. And there's our register button right here. I'm really going to get this camera thing going. Again, technology, we love it. It's our friend. It's not our best friend.
Usually. Oh.
Let's see again. Why am I'm just mad. Oh, I know why. Hold on.
You have disappeared completely.
Yeah, I know why. That's okay.
That's okay.
We'll get that
We'll
going
just-
in the background. No worries.
We'll just
no worries,
focus
no worries.
on the screen.
That's
and
right.
keep her going. There we go. All right. So you can just go ahead and walk us through the
Absolutely. So, yep, if we go through registration, you'll see, and again, it must be completed by a parent or guardian. That is the adult sponsor of the team. That can be the teacher on behalf of the team. That can be if you've got an after school club, if you've got a camp group that meets on the weekends that is participating in this. If you've got the at home, it's going to be a parent or guardian. Any of that can be done right here. And you're just going to fill out the information that is going on here. A really important one, and this is my favorite thing about what NASEF does, is what if you want to participate but you don't have Minecraft? NASEF will give you a free license to use Minecraft. You will see that right here. Now, you can use any version of Minecraft for this competition, whether that's Java, Bedrock, Education Edition, Pocket Edition. We saw some of the submissions when we watched the intro video that were done on tablet. Any of it, can be used. But right here, if you don't have one, NASEF will provide a free Minecraft education license for you to use throughout the duration of the competition. So the adult sponsor, you just need to make sure you click that yes, we do want some licenses to use for this because not all of our participants have Minecraft and we want Minecraft. I will say this, if you've got a team of 4 students, this is important, and let's say 2 of them don't have Minecraft, you're going to want to request this for the whole team, and that way they can play together because not all versions of Minecraft play together. So you want to make sure they're all in the same version. And there we go. So that's where you put in the number and you go through this process and hit submit. Now, once this is done, you will get an email asking you once we're up and running to register this is just to register your club, to register your individual teams, right? So you may be a club sponsor who's got 5 teams. You're a teacher. You got 5 teams in your classroom. You'll be getting the information on how to register those individual teams. So we know how many students are on each team, what are the names of the team, and what club are they playing for.
Exactly. That's perfect. Yeah, we need to know the team names. We want to know who we can attribute different videos to. And then, of course, when we recognize winners, we need the team names. So make sure when you get those emails that you respond to us and let us know exactly which teams you have participating.
Awesome.
And I think that's the whole process on registration. It's pretty straightforward.
That is it. And I will say also, I know we didn't spend a lot of time showing how to submit and flip. If you go back to video 1, which you haven't watched video 1, you should. I go through the whole process step by step right there.
Exactly. Perfect. All right. Well, we have covered a whole lot of ground today, and I'm excited that we got a chance to dig into the world of animation a bit with Juan Pablo. His experience is really helpful, and I think some of the things he talked about help students see, hey, if I'm interested in pursuing this, these are the things that I should do for that kind of a career. So as we leave you now, we are going to share a video that Jennifer mentioned, and this is an overview or a compilation, I guess is the right word, of several different Rube Goldberg machines that all kinds of companies have done. And again, when you just talk about humor and the music and the theme, you'll see all of those in this video. And we want to remind you, we have one more stream coming up, and Eric mentioned it briefly, but next week we will have one on January 31st. So make sure that you do subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can tune into that automatically. And as always, if you're in class,
and get those submissions in, because we want to share some of those submissions on the next stream and even announce some of those raffle winners from submissions 1 and 2 in our preseason. And yes, there are some prizes for submitting in those preseason challenges. So the only way to be eligible is to get those submissions in.
Right. Absolutely. Thanks for that reminder. Yes. So we'll have all those things happening on the live stream next week. And if you need to, of course, you can always watch the video, but hey, in person is the most fun, right? So with that said, thank you everyone for joining us, and let's check out this amazing compilation of videos that we have.
When I wash, yeah, let's me what I want when I want. They are jealous of me. I do what I want when I want. They are jealous of me. I do what I want when I want. They are jealous of me.
Man, talk about inspiration. Today we have provided it. So thank you again for joining us. We will see you next time, and get those submissions in. We want to see them.
Take care, everyone.